Okay everyone, now that you have traced out and transferred your animal image and you've finished your value scale, it's time to actually start to paint our large animal using our color values and our guide here. So there's a couple tools at your table that can help you. You can use the painter's tape, or you can use a scrap sheet of thick paper to help you make some really straight and precise paint lines. So I'm going to start with the painter's tape, then I'll show you how we use the paper scrap. So just a couple little pieces at a time, no more than a little inch of painter's tape can help you mask off an area and help you make some nice crisp lines. So I'm just going to go to this little area right here and show you how I paint that area first. So I'm going to zoom in on this little shape here. This part of the ear on the very top here is what I'm going to start to paint first. Looking at my guide, I know that that area is kind of a dark value. It's not quite black here, it's just a darker value. So I will eventually mix up a dark value for this shape here. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to mask off the edge of this shape, just like that, so that I have a nice crisp line when I start to paint this. I'm going to take two more pieces here and mask off the other edges. And then one more here. I think I need a kind of a longer piece here to mask off that edge. So I'm just putting them on the lines. Okay, after I've masked off that edge there, then I'm going to go to my paint palette and mix up a dark value. So remember, you should always have black and white and your one medium value color in a little pile here. Then these stay fresh and not mixed. The rest of the areas is where you'll mix your values. So remember, dark value is my color plus black. So I'm going to take my color, and I'm only going to mix a little bit of black at a time. Remember, just a tiny bit. Mix it up and see what it looks like. Looks like I need a little bit more, so again, I'll take a tiny bit more, and keep mixing it up until I feel like I have a nice dark red, a nice dark value. One more, I think. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so I think I have enough here. I might want to mix up a bigger pile, but I think that looks pretty good. I have enough paint here. Okay, so we're going to be using our small brushes, and they have a little small square top. So they're not as big as these thick square brushes. They're a little bit smaller. So I'm going to use these brushes so I can make some nice precise areas here. So I'm going to use this now. Make sure my tape is really stuck down there, and I'm just going to start to paint this area. When we're painting, I want to make sure that you paint this entire area nice and smooth. And you want to make sure your color looks pretty solid. You shouldn't be able to see your paper underneath. It should be nice and smooth. Go over it a couple times. Okay, once I have that area and it looks pretty smooth, I'm just going to carefully take the tape off. And when I do, I should have a pretty precise line there. I can put these pieces of tape aside. I can reuse this tape. It hasn't lost its stickiness yet, so I'm just going to put them aside on my scrap paper, and I'm going to use them again. Okay, so that's how we use the masking tape. You might have a couple smudgies in the background, but that's okay because we're going to paint the background anyway. Don't worry about that. Okay, there's another way that you can use something to mask off an area. So that's just a really thick piece of scrap paper that you also have at your table. So let's find another dark area, another dark value. Looks like I have a dark value up here on top of the ear as well. They're the same kind of dark gray. So if I want to paint this area, I'll use that same value of dark red. This time, I can also use my paper to block an area as well. So I'm going to take this and just block off the edge. And then I can go down from that edge and start to paint this area. So as I block that area in, and I take my paper off, you also see a nice crisp line. So this is a little bit quicker. You can just put this over different areas as long as you're not putting it on top of a wet area. And this can kind of help you go quicker and mask off areas. It's a little bit quicker than the tape. I just have to make sure that when I go up against that edge, I go from the edge down, from the edge down, and from the edge down. Okay, so that's two ways that I can make nice crisp lines. So we're going to start to paint our animals now, and remember to use your tools to help you. Use your guide to be looking at these values. So if I'm looking at this, I need to make sure that these areas are black and not a light value. I need to make sure these areas are either a really light value or a white. So really look at this guide. This is something that is going to help you a lot. Okay, so let's start to paint our animals now.